I want to thank Gretchen and the Department of Economic Development for the great work that they do every day, all around the world, to bring jobs to the citizens of the state of Georgia, and many of those are related to the industries that you represent and the issues that you're interested in. Welcome to our great state. I'm glad that you have chosen your home, which of course, as you know, is the place where your organization started. And this being the 35th annual convention, I think it is very appropriate that you chose to come back here to Atlanta. Now, with regard to your choice of locations as it relates to Mother Nature, I am pleased that Mother Nature didn't quite figure out that Georgia was a place to hit in this greatest storm, but we're pleased that those of you who came from out of state, and many of you came from areas that were affected by the storm, we thank you for your efforts to come here today. What you do is important. You're a part of an educational effort that I think has changed the dynamics of the consumer buying habits in the United States. Most people are like me and my wife. If we go to buy an appliance, if it doesn't have the Energy Star rating on it, we look for one that does. And also, recently, I keep noticing the advertisements for the LED televisions. And I got to asking some questions about that, and I found out that this was a technology that was co-invented by a professor at Georgia Tech, right here in Atlanta, Georgia. And I think that's just one additional evidence of the fact that our state, through its universities and its research institutions, are continuing to provide top-notch leadership in areas that pertain to energy efficiency. And we are also in the process producing the kind of graduates that many of your industries will need in this very important area. Now, let me tell you a little bit about our state and why we think we are at the epicenter of what is happening in energy efficiency. In 2011, Atlanta, with 43,000 clean energy jobs, topped the list of diverse clean economies among metropolitan areas in the United States and ranked 7th largest among the U.S. metropolitan clean tech economies, according to the Brookings Institute. Georgia Power Company and the Georgia Public Service Commission announced last year that Georgia Power would raise its clean energy efforts and buy up to 50 megawatts of solar power by 2015. And recently, Georgia Power has filed with the Public Service Commission to develop a Georgia Power Advanced Solar Initiative, which is, if approved, would create the largest voluntarily developed solar portfolio from an investor-owned utility. That's 210 megawatts of additional solar capacity through long-term contracts. And as most of you know, your organization, the AEE, is doing its part as well. You've worked with the Georgia Environmental Finance Authority to train over 260 certified energy managers. And you have also joined in providing the state of Georgia by working with our workforce development team to provide even better training for those who are interested in this area. You partnered with Georgia Tech to provide training for the U.S. Department of Energy's new Superior Energy Performance certification. And of course, through your Congress, you are continuing to emphasize the importance of all of these activities. I am told that your conference here today will have an expo of some 150,000 square feet of exhibit space, some 350 different booths, and all of these are shedding light on the importance of clean, efficient, and renewable energy, pun intended. The firms that are participating, that are headquartered here in Georgia, the Southeast, and the nation, and even globally, have come to your Congress, and I think that that is a significance in terms of the importance of the issues that you address. I'm sure that the innovations that are going to be on display in your exhibit hall will be the kind of things that will lead our nation to further energy independence and will continue to encourage energy entrepreneurship. I'm told that businesses in your industry are investing and expanding in Georgia, and I know that because I have visited many of them. Let me give you a few examples. GE Energy, which is headquartered in Georgia, and its Smart Grid Technology Center for Excellence is a $15 million investment that has created some 400 jobs and is working with both Georgia Tech and the University of Georgia. Mitsubishi Turbines, located in our state, has shipped its first turbine out of its Georgia location only a few weeks ago. Suniva, a Georgia-based startup company that manufactures the world's lowest cost, highest efficiency, commercially available solar cell from technology developed at Georgia Tech, was named Renewable Energy Exporter of the Year by the Export-Import Bank of the United States in 2010. Georgia Biomass, a joint venture between two of Europe's largest energy firms, is building a facility in Ware County in our state to create the world's largest renewable energy capacity of wood pellets, which are in the high demand, as you know, in Europe because of the mandates to reduce CO2 emissions, and which Georgia can, of course, produce the supply that is needed. When I was talking with them several months ago, they said, well, when you watch the Olympics in London, you will be pleased to know that the power that is putting those lights and making those lights work is primarily going to be provided from the pelletized pine trees from the state of Georgia. So we had an even greater hand in making the Olympics a success. In fact, Georgia ranks third in the United States for its future in alternative energy production and is home to the U.S. Department of Energy's Research and Education Center focusing on photovoltaics, which is located at Georgia Tech and is one of only 2 centers in the entire country. Now let me tell you a little bit about why Georgia is becoming the place that many of these firms are locating in. With regard to biomass, our state has 10 million acres of agricultural land and some 24.7 million acres of forest land. In fact, we are the #1 state in the nation for commercial timberland. We've established warehousing and distribution facilities throughout our state. We have top-notch infrastructure that can effectively and efficiently transport goods and workers in positions not only in the Southeast, but throughout the nation and the world. In fact, as you may know, some of you may have used it to get here, although its traffic has now been reduced because of the storm. The world's most traveled airport is located right here in Atlanta Hartsfield-Jackson Airport, and has recently this year opened a new international terminal. We have the Port of Savannah, which is a valuable point of export of products and import of materials which are used to develop many products in our state. And we have just recently received what is known as a record of decision to allow us to proceed to deepen our port so that we can accommodate the Super Post-Panamax vessels that will be passing through the Panama Canal when it is widened and deepened in 2014. We have a well-developed road system in this state with 4 major interstates and some 20,000 miles of federal and state roads. We have the largest intermodal hub and the most extensive rail system in the Southeast, consisting of some 2 Class I railroads. So, for people who come to our state, 80% of the nation's consumers are within a 2-hour flight of Atlanta, or a 2-day drive from our state. But you don't have to go far to find good workers, and that's always important to business. Our state boasts a strong workforce, ranked #1 on CNBC's America's Top States for Business. And it is provided because we have great research institutions and universities, colleges, technical colleges, and one of the things that has distinguished us is a Georgia Quick Start program, the nation's top workforce training program that will customize and train free of charge employees for qualifying companies. Recently, the Georgia General Assembly in the session this year worked with me to create beneficial tax reform. More efficient energy use is going to help all of us. We believe that manufacturing is something that should continue to not only return to the United States, but continue to grow in the United States. And one of the things that our reform package included was the elimination of sales tax on energy that is used for manufacturing. Now, I know that that is important because it creates jobs, and I think it is in line with most of your objectives. We want to see more investment in our great state, and I know that the work that you will be doing and the products that you will be displaying will be used by the citizens of our state, and hopefully continually more of those products will be produced right here in our state. Thank you again for choosing Georgia for this Congress, and thank you for returning to the state of your organization's origin. I am also pleased to note that your guest speaker, who is the keynote speaker, will be following me, General Powell. He reminded me, as I talked with him a few minutes ago, that he used to be the commander of Fort McPherson here in Atlanta. I reminded him that I knew that he had gone through Fort Benning as an infantry officer, so I think he recalled his days at Fort McPherson a little more fondly, perhaps, than he did being on Sand Hill in the Columbus area, which I too remember from my Army days. But we're pleased that he would come and be a part of your conference. I think this brings great credit to your organization. Thank you for being here. If there's anything that the office of the governor of this state can do, or that our Department of Economic Development can do, I hope you will feel free to call on us.